Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. Here's the nearly finished level crossing. So this is the structure, the bearing structure of the actual level crossing, the part that crosses the rails, which I'm going to make in a grey-black card with a slight ridged effect, which will actually depict quite well the kind of modern level crossings that have a nice smooth steel surface, not those horrible bumpy blocks of concrete, of reinforced concrete that then are all irregular and more or less you destroy your car as you drive over them. Anyway, so what have I used? I used some lengths of very old modelling wood. This is bought in 1989, so very well seasoned wood, combined with some other profiles, 2mm by 2mm, that I bought for another project, but they were no use. And in fact, I'm going to measure them right now. I've got my calipers here. As you can see, it's 2mm by 2mm. So that's the calipers away. I have analog calipers because I'm half Scottish and I'm too mean to have a battery running out when I'm not using it. No, I'm just being silly. I'm not that bad. But honestly, I don't see. Yes, if I had to do super high precision measurements, I would definitely get one of these new calipers that have the digital display. But for my use of the calipers, that's good enough. In fact, it's actually an improvement on the cheap and nasty plastic one I had beforehand. Okay, right. So what am I going to do now? I've cut some paper profiles and I'm going to glue these onto this bearing structure, which I made. I pushed up against the shoes, and then last night I also made this bracing so that the car will not sag. Here, in this case here on this side, it's nice and flush, so there's no problems. We're there. I've left enough space, for the wheels not to soil the cardboard and things like that, and derailments and the like. This here I'm going to glue directly onto this piece of wood, and we're okay. And I think, I don't know, we're going to begin from the central part. That's the most tricky bit, because this is a part that can get in the way of the wheels of the flanges. I've measured, I've checked, I've looked with a torch. Everything should be okay. But, of course, we can't say it's okay until it's in place. And these two parts here will be glued on at the side, but we'll do them last. So, I've got two black profiles right now, right here. They've still got some pencil markings on them. Let's see which is wider. One's slightly wider than the other one. I don't remember which one right now. Okay, let me just check. One's a bit narrower, which will act as a base. That's a narrower one, and this is a slightly wider one that I cut later, because here we're a bit lower down, so I'm putting a double layer to sort of raise the center of the track up, so that we don't have vehicles getting stranded on the level crossing, which might not be a good idea. Okay, so just a second. I'm using my eraser to clean this. A minute. I'm going to glue everything on with glue and glaze, because glue and glaze is a good glue, because it gives me a margin, to move things around and to make sure that they're not. Okay. I'm off camera. I'm not in a rangefinder, but I'm actually getting rid of some pencil. Oops, that was a bend. That wasn't good. That landed on the floor. Right, this is a finishing part, so this will go on top. but now we're gluing the other one on. So I've got some glue and glaze on this bit of card from the Archie. There's this fellow here, he keeps saying, if your driving license is expired, get in contact with the Automobile Association, Archie, to quickly renew your license. Yes, they do this service. Okay, righto, let's put some glue on here. I'm just going to apply glue and glaze with a brush to the load bearing, to the framework, load bearing structure, frame. Okay, if you hear any voices in the background, it's a bloke that lives at the top of my street who is often engaged in conversations on his own. Okay, here he is. I hope there's no profanities. But lately he's been in a good mood. There, one of the dogs doesn't appreciate him very much. Still warm enough to have the windows open, but it's okay. The thing is, with summer, in my case, I've been used to being with open windows, apart from the hottest part of the day, for such a long time, that then, once it's time to close the windows, I nearly feel there's not enough air. I've been used to, being outside all the time. This outdoor life, even if you're in the house. Okay, I think we're okay. Glue and glaze, this PVA glue. I mean, the glue and glaze is very nice because it doesn't leave marks. I mean, I could even buy myself a bottle of normal PVA, but I don't know, standardize on this one. It's a very good glue, and I don't need to have 10 million bottles. Okay. Right, so that's on, and what we're going to do right now, we're going to glue this on. Okay, I'm putting this brush, over there. Let's get our piece of card. Pardon me, I'm moving the board over a bit. Anyway, you're on the board, so there's no problems. So I'm going to go down now and glue this piece of black card down in the central part of the rails. And I was going to use a cotton bud to rub it down, and the cotton buds, I finished the ones in here. I should go in the toilet and get some clean ones. So I think that's very nice. Isn't there a sort of semi-used cotton bud, something I could use? I'll just use my finger. So making that framework underneath was actually a good idea, because it doesn't sag in the middle. That's nice. Okay, it's glued down. Let's push it down with the finger, just rub it down. My finger that got closed in the tailgate of the Panda is getting better. I've not got a big sticking plaster there anymore. Okay, and this way, with glue and glaze, PVA, we can actually push it over, sort of get it in position. This is still, it's not super flush at the top, so there's a bit of a gap here. Of course, there is quite a big gap here, but the thing is that we have to really take flanges. Model railway flanges are over-dimensioned compared to reality, and so we have to make sure that things don't derail and have problems. Let's see if the train goes over that without problems. Switch it on. Perfect, no problem at all. Okay, that's excellent. So that's one done. I think my wife walked past before. I think I'll ask her if she can bring me some cotton buds. could you please bring me some cotton buds? Or log howkers, as I usually call them in Scots English. And I should say, could you give me some log howkers, please? That's more realistic speak at home. Okay, so that's fitted on nicely. And I don't know whether to wait. Maybe we should let it set before applying the second. Or do we need the second one? I think we might very well need. Yes, I think so. We need a second. With a second layer of black card, we really are nice and flush. So when we'll drive a vehicle over this, it won't, be much of a bump. Because the whole point of the level crossing is then playing with cars, driving them over the level crossing. I mean, it's not just here for decoration. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Could have brought me a handful. That's not very many.
I didn't know.
I asked for some cotton buds. She brought me four cotton buds.
Yes, the whole box.
No, I don't need to bring me the whole box. Just I'll take a handful out of there.
Take as many as you like.
Right, thank you very much. Yeah, that's the quantity of cotton buds you need for doing locomotive maintenance and things. Okay, very well. I'm just taking one. I'm trying to involve my wife into model railways. I said, look, I could make you a small layout. You could run a tram, but she doesn't really want it. But she enjoys watching the videos. She liked the one with the bus presentation. She heard me doing it, making the video. And she enjoyed it. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so I will, seeing we're here, we will apply a second layer here, but we'll let the glue dry. I want to put this here, and I think maybe, because the other thing is, what I'm trying to do in this case here, I'll explain. So, the whole point is that we might have to lift the rails for maintenance, okay? So, I've glued this piece of wood here. There's a double down there. There are two lengths of 2 by 2 millimeter wooden profiles with this piece of wood with plank glued on top of them. But I glued the plank only on top of these ones. It's not glued onto these runners here. It's just sort of leaning on those runners. Why? Because if I have to take the track out and do maintenance for any reason, I unscrew, unclip, and I can pull the track out. So this track, the track is not glued on, shall we say, it's not fixed to either of the ramps. So it can be slid out very easily. The paper, so this paper here stays in the middle of the track, so that's that, no problem. The other parts of cards, I'm going to glue them to the ramps and not to, so even in this case here, this is just sort of, this framework here, these runners here are just sort of load bearing, so that with a bit of card, when a vehicle goes over it, it doesn't sag and it's nice and realistic. So this is not glued onto there, it's just glued on at the side on the ramp. So this way this can be dismantled, pulled out without destroying all the paper. I also thought, okay, card is expendable, it's not a problem, we can always cut it, then reapply card. But why should I have to remake, recut, repattern and all the rest of it if I can do a well-made job that can actually be easily removed? In this case here, the difficulty or the complication, let's say, in this job is that the level crossing is on a bend. And not only is it on a bend, it's on a tight radius bend. It's not even a, it's really, this is tight radius. And so that makes everything more complicated. If this were a straight, I would have used the Jouef one out of the box. The one, what is it? I put it away. I would have used that one there, but this is definitely better and more realistic for a large station. That's more a country level crossing. We'll use that somewhere else. and so this is why it's more complicated, why there's all these calculations, and I'll show you some of the patterns I made. These are all the various paper patterns. I wanted to show you them. Where are they? Here they are. Different paper patterns I made to be able to cut the card, just using a pencil, this double-ended red and blue pencil. These are teacher pencils in Italy. They use these to correct your written tests. So a blue mistake is a serious mistake. This takes points off. And a red mistake is a sort of form mistake, which is a bit strange because you associate red with mistakes. And I remember one of the very first tests, written tests I did at high school, I saw the teacher called me to her desk, and from a distance I saw that it was blue. So I thought, I didn't make many mistakes. Oh boy, those were all serious mistakes. I think it was a Latin test or Greek. I got a very low mark, something like 4 or 3.5. It was a disaster. There was a lot of blue and not much red. In fact, it was mainly blue. So I use these pencils. I've also used them to correct things when I was teaching courses and things. So we're talking about physical, the old-fashioned courses and presents, but I don't work at those anymore. But they're also very, very good pencils for taking notes and for highlighting things. So I use these pencils a lot. They're my nasty teacher pencil, but they're great. Okay. Right, very well. So I think we're going a bit to everything's going. I've been speaking too long about this thing here. The video is 17 minutes, geezo, and I think I'll just stop now. I want to see if I have to maybe cut another one of these, because this side here is nice and flush with the ramp. You can see that's just nice. That's just absolutely perfect. But on this side here, there's a bit of a step, if you can see. And we're a bit lower than the rail, so I think I'm going to cut another one of these. I'm going to cut a second one of these to sort of be nice and high, and then I'll actually glue these together before fitting. Okay, I think that's very nice. Very good, that's nice. Then we'll add the second one on top, and it'll be ready. We'll only have the barriers to finish. Okay. Cheerio, and see you next time. Ciao, ciao. Vroom, vroom, vroom. This lorry, the IFA W50, has to cross a level crossing, but no, it can't for the moment. It would get stuck. It would better anyway, yeah? Not bad, not bad, not bad. Okay, cheerio.